Hey guys, Dwayne here. Today I want to talk a little bit about coping when you're sick or hurt. Um, okay, so I've kind of said this in the comments a little bit. I've been dealing with a minor little medical emergency that has been, I guess, impacting my life for the last week, and it brought up. Well, it brought up the idea of this particular topic because I think when you're sick or hurt, it modifies, it impacts the way you view and look at things. So the first thing I guess I want to address is I try to be really responsive on the comments, and as a result of this, dealing with the recovery of it and just getting some rest. I've been a little slower to respond, and hopefully my responses have been coherent. But so that's why what I've been doing is when I'll get up, I'll answer. I'll try to go through some comments, answer them the best I can, and then when I just get to the point where I'm just too tired or whatever, then I take a break. I think you guys have all seen that I take the comments seriously, and I try to answer and provide a thoughtful, meaningful answer as much as I possibly can. So I'll go back through the comments I've missed over the next coming days and maybe week, and catch up on those. So if I'm slow to answer emails or comments or site messages or whatever, that's what's going on. I'm not forgetting about you guys. I'm just trying to get myself well and let the medication and stuff take its course. So all right, so my point of this is that for this particular topic, for this video, is you have to recognize the impact that when you're sick or hurt, that it's going to have on you. Now, I know it sounds really obvious, but I mean, even for me, in this particular stage that I'm at, it wears you down. It makes you a lot more sensitive and more emotional on how you respond and how you interact, and how you perceive things. So, I mean, the first thing you need to do is just keep things in perspective, and minimize the decisions or anything that you're going to actually decide on doing, or decisions or choices that you need to make. And if you're in this mode, this is really not the time. If you have any ability to take a step back and put it on pause, I highly recommend you do that, because you're just not going to be in a good space to deal with it. Okay, so just as when you're overstressed, your perspective is skewed. The same is true whenever your body's stressed, right? Now, I think that I have a pretty good handle on dealing with the stress of the situation. I think if I didn't, you guys wouldn't have, I mean, I think the videos I've made thus far can attest to that. But I'll tell you that with what I'm dealing with right now, it's kind of pushed the scope on that, and makes it hard, makes it difficult. So you need to recognize that whenever your immune system's down, and you're just not thinking as clearly, probably you don't have as much rest, you're in pain, you're just a little more anxious, it's going to skew how you think and interact and respond to different things. So you have to recognize your view and your emotional response is more than likely going to be inhibited whenever you're going through this. Now, my recommendation and the way I've dealt with this is basically a two-part approach. First thing that you need to do is you need to limit your contact or your interaction with a narcissist in your life. when you're in this stage, you're super vulnerable to being provoked, and any interaction with them is not a good idea. I may have mentioned a few years ago, I had an interaction with my ex where I wasn't feeling well. It was for parent-teacher, an IEP for my son. And it was a bad conversation. It just wasn't a shining, stellar moment. And a lot of that had to do with the fact that I was sick. I was on a bunch of antibiotics. I wasn't sleeping well. I'd been missing, was out of work because of it. And just having to deal with the shenanigans that we all have to deal with, it just wasn't a good idea. I probably would have been better served just calling out and saying I couldn't make the meeting and not showing up. And I think now I know that, right? So if it was to happen today, that's what I would have done. And for instance, actually, I'm been kind of a little out of it. I actually thought that there was a parent-teacher meeting the day I was recording this video. There was supposed to be I thought there was supposed to be a parent-teacher meeting. And I know the phase I'm in. I don't necessarily think that I would be provoked, but I know I'm not 100% on my game. And if I didn't have the dates wrong, and it's actually a week, it's in a week, I would have called out and said I'm sick. I'm not going to make it. And you have to recognize whenever you're not at your top form or top game to limit the chances that you could get provoked or triggered into a response that you typically wouldn't do, because it doesn't do anything good for you. Okay, so the second thing is you got to recognize there's a good chance that you're going to go into catastrophic thinking, where everything is black or white. And the thing I want to say about that is it's normal, right? I mean, I've even in the last few days I've had some things where, I get, it's yes or no, or it's black or white, and you need to recognize that whenever you are wore down, that's happening. So just kind of tell yourself, okay, so I'm, my whole system is inhibited right now. I'm not thinking as correctly as I normally would, and just recognize it, right? So, I mean, if you have to indulge yourself in a little tiny bit of catastrophic thinking, okay, fine, but you need to recognize that it's not your normal mode of thinking or feeling. This is a lot harder in the beginning stages because you're already suffering. You're already dealing with that. So, your span of positive moments are a lot less. So then if you get sick to where basically those positive moments just go away and now you're just thinking catastrophically all the time, it's really tough. But just if you're in this mode, if you're sick or you're dealing with an injury or a medical procedure or something like that, and you're run down, just give yourself a break. Just tell just remind yourself, hey, this is just I'm sick. This is just the way it's going to be until I'm better. But I don't need to make it worse. I just need to recognize, okay, well, this sucks, but I have to get through it. So and then on that, one of the things that's kind of tough is if you do have your kids in that mode. Like for me, in my particular situation, when this whole thing started for me, it was right before I got my kids back for the longer period of time, where I've talked about my schedule before, but where I had them for the 5-day stretch instead of the 2-day, whatever. It's like, it's 2, 3, if I remember correctly. So basically, anyways, so it was my long stretch, right? So I even actually considered on this particular thing, waiting to go to the doctor until the kids had gone to their moms. And luckily I didn't. I should have actually, might have not I don't know. Probably I should have went to the doctor during the Big Bear trip, but hey, I'm still grateful that I went. But anyways, so Saturday morning, I tapped the mat, got myself, left the kids at home, went to the doctor, and they're like, good thing you came in. So, got my situation at least started to get treated. And a bunch of meds and all that kind of stuff. So that's great. But anyways, my point is that when you're in that mode, it's really tough because you have to really work extra hard in your interaction with the kids, and to not allow them to provoke you. Kids are kids, and and if they're in this situation, they're bouncing back and forth between the houses and the different environments, and they normally push, they're normally going to try to push your buttons. And if you're not feeling well, it makes it a lot harder and a lot easier for you to get more aggravated and respond where you typically wouldn't want to respond. So you just have to recognize that, and basically find other ways, easier ways to feed them. Whatever you got to do, just try to keep it as. You're not going to accomplish. Unfortunately, it's going to be a waste of time, because your ability to be able to focus on what you really want to focus on to help them, with your Groundhog Day effect and stuff like that is pretty much a wash. You're basically going to be in just kind of standby mode, and kind of like a status quo mode. Which is really unfortunate, but it is what it is. And you have to give yourself time. You got to give yourself time to heal. And, and if you push yourself too hard, it really sets you up to respond in ways that you typically wouldn't respond. And not that it's going to damage things. It just doesn't do anything good for you. So, don't do that. All right. So, being sick or hurt is really going to complicate your recovery. Now, in my situation, I'm hoping that this is a relatively short thing, maybe a week, maybe two. But I recognize that it's, a lot of the things that I'm trying to accomplish are going to get slowed down. Then there's not really a way around that. It's even doing, videos and stuff. I have a pretty aggressive schedule with content that I'm trying to create, and it's going to be complicated to maintain that schedule right now. Now I'm going to do what I can. I think I have a handle on it to where I can keep the content coming and relevant, and hopefully it's still meaningful for you guys. And I'm using this, basically I'm also kind of using this as an opportunity, because it brought up a situation that I've dealt with in the past that I'm obviously dealing with now, not to the extent that it was in the past. So more than likely you guys are going to go through the same thing. So I thought that would be a good opportunity to talk about it, to at least have you think about it before it happens. And if you're going through the same thing right now, maybe it'll give you some hope to realize, okay, yeah, that makes sense. If I'm kind of beat down a little bit physically because I'm sick. I just got to let myself heal and get back on track, and things will be okay. Okay. So that's kind of a bummer, but it's just one of those things that happens. So, the other thing, you got to recognize that the thoughts that you're going to have or are having, are not really your view of your entire situation. Yes, it's the catastrophic view of your situation, like all is lost, but it's not, if you have a little bit of time on this and you can recognize the good times, your good moments compared to your bad moments, you'll be able to see that, okay, when I'm feeling better, I'm not so, in this space. So recognize it. And try to fight the urge to get into that catastrophic thinking and defeatism and stuff like that. So, all right, guys. So I'm going to wrap this up. If you have some ways that you've dealt with this whenever you're kind of down or sick or injured, leave them in the comments, because I could probably use some of the advice myself. Anyways, you know, it could be helpful for some other folks, and I would like to hear how you guys have dealt with it. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If the channel's helping you out, please subscribe. And if you know someone else who's not feeling well, who's going through this, who isn't following the channel, share it, and maybe it'll help them out. And I will talk to you guys soon on the next video. Take care. Bye.